Good morning. I'm Bill. I'm from Premier Faucet to Advanced Technical Support, and I'm the one that most people talk to when they are calling about a warranty issue. Myself or Tim or Jeff is probably who you would talk to. And we get a lot of calls on the 120224 Sanibel faucet, and we also get a lot of calls on the 120225, which is the brushed nickel part of this. So I thought I'd make a video that shows the disassembly or the assembly, whichever you need, to work on your faucet and change some pieces, parts out in terms if you have a warranty claim and you're trying to do it yourself. Obviously, if you have any doubt as to whether or not you can accomplish the task to its completion, we would highly recommend that you contact a licensed plumbing contractor or professional in your area so that you can get the work done and get it done exactly the way it should be done. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll talk about the aerator first. The aerator is probably the easiest thing to change out. It screws right out. It should be no more than hand tight. Comes out, and of course it will go back in. Now the key to putting one back in is realizing that they're not set square to the countertop deck. So since they're tilted back a little bit, you want to make sure that you have it set correctly to the thread so that you don't cross-thread your aerator when you're trying to put it back together. In the top, you have this cap nut that would come off, and here you have 3 O-rings. I can get the O-ring kits from the manufacturer still, and whenever you put those on, you would just squeeze these and pinch them off, and then put these back on and put a light coat of silicone-based lubricant on them so that will help with the longevity of the fixture and the rubber, so that and also with the travel, it will help it travel a little more smoothly and easily. You want to push this thing back down. Make sure that it's seated all the way to the top of the spout upright, and just screw this nut back on, this cap. Now on this particular valve, this makes a difference. This helps hold this thing on and keeps it secure. So if you've got water leaking out of the top here or bubbling up out of the top there, you will more than likely just need to change those O-rings and it would all be good. A side note is that this faucet has been discontinued for several years, so if you're unable to repair it, we're going to have to try to work out a replacement faucet for you, okay? As we move down, we want to talk about the diverter. Had a lot of people say, I can't get to the diverter, you can't take this off, you can't get at the diverter to repair it, I need you to send me another faucet. Well, over time, the calcium deposits and that kind of thing may build up in your faucet, but this faucet is absolutely designed to come apart. Here at the junction of the valve body and the spout upright, you can try to use WD-40 in there as some kind of lubricating oil. You may even want to bump it a little bit tighter to break whatever is binding the threads, but it will absolutely come apart, as you will see here. And it's got a good many threads on it. It's got an O-ring here at the top. It's for the seating, and inside you will see the diverter. So what you would need for this is like a really wide screwdriver or some wide piece of metal, possibly a knife if obviously you have that if you're working in the kitchen. But for me, I use this wood chisel. Worked really well, and it spans the 2 notches in the top of the diverter. That will just screw out. And Here's your diverter. Obviously, you may need to, if it's installed, you may need to take a pair of needle nose pliers and reach down in there and grab it out. But you want to make sure that these rubber pieces are also slightly lubricated with heat-proof type grease, silicone based. And to change it out, you would just slip this back down in there. Make sure it's square to the threads. And you want it to be seated, but you don't want to ratchet down on that. And make it crazy tight, okay? So, and then you would put this, the spout upright, you would put it back on. And you just want to make sure that the O-ring is seated and that it's snug. You don't have to ratchet down on this and get it so tight that you'd need some kind of cheater bar or some kind of extra leverage to get it off. All right? So I just put it on just barely close, just barely tighter than hand tight. For your cartridges, you would just pop the cap off the handle. I've got my handy dandy little screwdriver here. Take that off. This bonnet nut should only be finger tight. Don't go crazy with it. Then you'll get to the brass nut here. And you will see on either side of it, there is a flat spot in the threads. So like right here, there's a flat spot in the threads. You would take an adjustable wrench or channel locks or whatever you have that will span that distance. Mine isn't quite long enough. I'll get my head the wrench. So this was an 8-inch adjustable wrench. A 10-inch would probably make it, but I also have a set of pump channel locks that I would use in this particular instance. And it wouldn't be crazy tight either, although it may be fairly tight when you've got all the calcium buildup inside your faucet. So you may need, once again, to use some WD-40 or some kind of lubricant. Then you would pull the cartridge out, paying attention to the way it came out. You want it to go back in the exact same way it came out, okay? Also, while you have the cartridge out, I highly recommend that you turn the cold water on just a little bit, real lightly, get some water flowing out of that, put a cup or a bowl underneath so you don't have flood your countertop, and then turn it off, and also do the same with the hot. That will give you the opportunity to clear out any particulates that are in the water lines, flush out those water lines, and give you an opportunity to get that all cleaned out, and it will help with the longevity of your cartridge. So the cartridge will go back in the way it came out. Also, you'll notice that there's two knobs here on the bottom of the cartridge. You can see those, and they line up with the holes in the bottom of the valve body there so that you can't put it in the wrong way. Put this back on. keeping in mind that try to remember the tension that you used when you took it out and go back with that same tension. All right? Come back on with the bonnet nut. Come back on with the handle. You don't have to go crazy tight with everything on this, because if you ever have to take it apart again, the tighter that you've made it, the tighter it's going to be, and the more difficult it's going to be to get it off down the road. This faucet also comes with a removable piece that the spray hose will hook to. You'll see there's an O-ring here. It goes into the center hole and just tight enough to flush it up. And you will also, if you need to use a wrench, you will also see that there's flat sides in the threads of this on either side for an adjustable wrench, and I'm sure any small, even a 6-inch adjustable wrench would take care of that. All right, so, just to do the spray hose, you would connect that to this, give it a little quarter turn with the wrench, and of course the spray head will go on the other side. And if you need a new spray head, you don't necessarily need to change the hose out, because the spray head comes as one piece. And replacement spray heads are still available from the manufacturer, and if you don't need to change the hose, why get underneath the kitchen sink to do that if you don't need to? All right, so that would come back apart. Whatever you need to do to just unscrew that. And the last but not least is the water lines come separate when you buy this faucet. And they are removable and they are replaceable. Although I would tell you that when you're talking about working upside down in underneath the countertop, this screws in and it's got 2 O-rings on it. And you would just get it up tight enough for those 2 O-rings to seat in. But you're working upside down. You're trying to get that in. And I would also say that I've replaced a couple of these from the manufacturer, and I've never had them not leak. So if this is the issue with your faucet, we can give it a try. But if you really want to try to keep the faucet, but if not, we can talk about getting you a replacement unit. Well, I hope this has kind of helped you out with the assembly and disassembly. I apologize for having to go get an extra wrench, but hey, what job can you ever do that you've got every tool that you need with you? All right, I hope to hear from you soon, or actually I hope I don't hear from you, because if I hear from you, you've got a warranty issue, and we need to get that fixed for you, and we'll get on that as soon as we can. As always, if you need me or need us to help, just shoot us an email at support_premierfaucet@homedepot.com. That's support_premierfaucet@homedepot.com. We'll see you in the next one.